In this case study, we're going to look at a school in Manchester. It was part of a programme involving schools across Greater Manchester. And the school was looking at Year 9 group who were learning Spanish. And the topic that they focused on was about green and futuristic living. And you can see on this brief from the teacher the reasons that he had chosen this topic, the importance of the issue. It's a very current issue, and it's something that could be relevant to their lives. And he wanted to motivate and engage the students in the topic area. You can see then the ideal outcome. He's saying, actually, the reason as a MFL, Modern Foreign Languages teacher, would be to engage the students in acquisition of language. And the topic has a sense of purpose. And there you can see the curriculum map. Green futuristic living is described there amongst the other topics covered in this case in the spring term. There are bullet points showing what I do to be green, environmental issues and houses of the future, giving examples such as use of solar panels. So in the brief, that was summarised, that was brought together as a single document. I suggested a couple of case studies. I pointed the teacher towards other examples, modern foreign languages projects, where an innovative approach had been adopted. You can see actually in that bottom panel, there's a reference to one particular local firm called Solar Choice, who are involved in eco-friendly solutions for houses, solar panels, from Greater Manchester. We wondered whether they maybe did exporting to or some sort of overseas activity with a Spanish-speaking country. We summarised the learning goals which have been provided, and you can see the end result, the exhibition, the outcome of project-based learning, we described as a response from an employer partner to the student's work, possibly involving a visit to the school. So that's the kind of thing we had in mind in this outline project. And we approached, as it happened, we didn't approach that firm with the solar panels. It was literally a Google search, and I can't remember exactly what the search string was, but it was something about, eco-friendly houses, Greater Manchester and Spain. It was that kind of mix. And the end result was finding a company called Ecovida Homes, UK based, which builds and designs eco-friendly houses for people living in Marbella and people who want to have holiday homes in Marbella primarily. So there's an email sent across. Literally, it was info at, I think it was something like that. It was the generic email address. And it described very concisely what we were planning to do, what the learning outcomes were. It made reference to their own website, and it said students would produce a short piece of written word, both English and Spanish, with illustrations inspired by your work. This could provide you with a basis for a PR story. So it's kind of saying there might be a benefit for you. We'll always start off when we approach an employer by trying to identify what might be in it for them, not just what we are wanting from them. And you can see the reply, which was, great idea, let's do it. This is from the one of the directors, commercial director from the company. Let's do it. What do you need from me? And that, I think, it indicates that if you get the targeting right, if you've done that, what we would call step 4 correctly, you've done the groundwork, steps 2 and 3 in particular, then it's more likely they're going to say, yeah, sure, why not? It sounds straightforward and it's not too demanding. It's a partnership that's been presented. So the email from me just went on to explain what it is we're looking for. Video clips, case studies, information, so we can big up what they're about and inform the students, give them basis to work on the project. We'll pull together resources for the classroom, but it'd be good for the students to know that you will look at the examples of their work and provide some informal feedback. We're setting the scene very clearly, describing how that partnership will work. And, it went on. There are a couple of other emails. You can see that the director is saying in principle he's happy about the video comment to the students, wanting a bit more information, some thoughts about practicalities about that, putting a blog post on the project on the website after it's completed. And then you can see in my reply, there's a suggestion about what we might want from them. So if we're saying we want a video, what should be included? And, it's a few bullet points. It's not a long brief, but it's clear and succinct. And I think it reflects the fact these are busy people. This is the director of a relatively small business operating both in Spain and the UK. So he doesn't have much time. He wants to know exactly, what is it you're asking of me? When do you need me to do it? Be specific. So the resources we use, these are a few of the slides. We didn't actually use a video, in fact, to describe the company. We didn't get John to produce a video because it wasn't necessary. So we started off by setting the scene, and there's his face. Introduce the students to the person, and that link on the slide was actually to existing video material. It was really good stuff they had on their own website, which started to describe this picture of a company that's working in both Spain and the UK, people who need to speak both languages in order to do their business, creating eco-friendly homes, a better way of living, as their strapline puts it. And there were examples. These are from their website, so nothing new had to be created. We just tapped into existing resources, existing materials to illustrate what an eco-friendly house looks like. Very attractive is the answer. So inspiring the youngsters to think about what they might design and how they might describe the homes that are eco-friendly, green and futuristic living. There's the challenge that they're finally set with. Inspired by Ecovida Homes, write a short paragraph in English and Spanish that describes how homes in this part of Andalusia can be make the most of the environment. Include a drawing of a home that illustrates your bright ideas for green and futuristic living. Very importantly, he says, I'm going to send you a bit more information, and I look forward to seeing your bright ideas. So the students know at this point, before they start the project, John is going to look at their work. So, there is an example of the students' work, the design of a house, and the Spanish words and phrases that are dotted around to illustrating what the student thinks that might look like, with a green roof and all the other things. And here's the feedback. This is just a couple of examples of what we would call step 5, the impact on the students. What did they learn in the process? Interestingly, I think very importantly, what you can see are just 2 examples I've picked out. That there are some opportunities for them to indicate whether it was motivating, whether they engaged in the experience. Did it help them think about how it might develop their aspirations? This program was actually part of an NCOP initiative to get youngsters to think about higher education. So questions dropped in, get them to think about whether they were going to go on to university, whether it inspired them in that way. But the thing I am most proud of as a result of an experience, this student says, the design my team came up with. In this case, the student says, my teamwork. And I think it's important to recognise that when young people are involved in projects like this, although there may be an academic learning outcome, which applies to all the students, they will get things from projects like this, which they will articulate in different ways. And so whether it's teamworking or whether it's the creativity in coming up with a design, actually what's important is the students internalise, they recognise what their greatest achievement is, how it's moved them on in their personal development. You can see here, we did send work to John. I sent him a Dropbox link so he could quickly download a sample of the students' work. The project, it reminds them, was about green living. It's about encouraging them to use vocabulary more than accuracy of the drawings or a knowledge about eco-friendly buildings. So informal feedback might comment on some of the translations, brackets, good or bad, and the importance of ensuring that in communicating with clients and locals, accurate language and translation is crucial. It says an email would be fine, but a video message recorded on your phone and sent across on WhatsApp would be perfect, ideally in a setting that looks suitably Spanish and much warmer than in Bury, which is where this school was based. So let's see what John did send back.
Thank you for sending me your designs for energy efficient villas and illustrated in Spanish. Let me remind you who I am, okay? My name's John Wolfendale. I'm a chartered surveyor and I live in Spain. My business, Ecovida Homes, we help people build energy efficient villas, mainly in Marbella and the Costa del Sol. Right now, I'm not down there on the coast. I'm up in Granada, which is where I live. and I've come up here to show you some of the scenery. I'm afraid it's a hazy day, but behind me you can see the Albaicín, which is the historic center of Granada, and opposite it, which you can't see, is the Alhambra, and one of the world's greatest buildings, well worth checking out. Now, let me run through with you some of these, some of the work that you've been doing. It's all great stuff, and I'm going to start with my absolute favorite, because we've got here, let me show you, we've got here, I don't know if you can see that, it says Tendrá las viudas ahumado, which in English means it will have the smoked widows. Okay, now I suspect that what's happened here is that someone has put into Google Translate something like opaque windows, but they spelt windows wrong and put widows in, which is why we have this house is going to have smoked widows. So obviously, apart from being funny, there's lots of funny translations like that. We see it all the time here on the menus when we go to restaurants in Spain, and they make mistakes when they translate it into English. But it just goes to show the limitations of Google Translate and the care that you have to take when you're putting something in Google Translate, and in general terms, the importance of a clear communication, okay? Because if I can't communicate with my team in Spanish or my clients in English, then I can't run my business, okay? So it's really important. Let's find some other bits of work here. There's one here which I love, okay? It's got down here, it's got mantiene los coches frescos, okay? That's because it's having the garage in the basement. That's very sensible. Anything in the basement. Today is a hot day, by the way, as you can probably see. And if we're in the basement, then the chances are we're going to be cool, we're out of the sun. And in Spain, we've got a cooling problem in the summer. Normally, in Northern Europe, you have a heating problem in the winter. There's another one here which I particularly like. I love mind maps, okay? This is a mind map here from someone's done a mind map. Mind maps are great for stimulating creativity, for helping you organize your thoughts, and for memorizing things. And I love this one as well. Look, we've got here Marble Island Table. Marble Island Table. It's the hub of the house. It's in the middle of the kitchen. It's where the family and friends are all going to gather around to prepare the food together. And that's a great design feature. There's lots of great stuff here. Vamos a utilizar la energía solar, producir nuestro propio la electricidad. There are some mistakes in the Spanish, but you're going to be understood. That's it for now. I just leave you with the thought, repeating myself really, of the importance of, especially in your professional lives, whatever you're doing, of a clear communication. Okay, just using the grammar correctly, and certainly if you're going to be speaking in another language or you're running international teams like I am, then clear communication is absolutely vital. That's it for now. Thanks again for sending me all your stuff, and perhaps we'll do this again, or you'll send me some more stuff. I'd be delighted to receive it from you.
So John did send the feedback as we'd hoped, and interestingly, the reaction from the teachers was really quite dramatic, because in this case the teacher opened up the email from John with his response, as she says, when she had the class. I had the class when the email came through, so I showed them. They were proud but shocked that actually it was a real project. They had assumed I'd made it up, which is a shame, as that may be the reason they'd not put as much effort in. In other words, she recognises, if they'd really believed her, if they'd recognised it was real, she wasn't just inventing it, it wasn't just a scenario, they might have put even more work in. I can see about trying to get a clip together to say thank you to him in reply. I think this is evidence that when young people feel that a challenge is purposeful with a tangible outcome and that they will get feedback from the expert, in this case the employer, that it does bring classroom learning to life and it does motivate them to work harder.